You're listening to the Dead Padawans Society, a science fiction and fantasy podcast celebrating the ideas, mythologies, and truths in iconic works of sci-fi.
We're doing something a little different than what we've done, a countdown from 10 to 1 of the top 10 sci-fi songs of the 20th century.
Number 10, Iron Man. The idea is that there's a guy in the future who the world is crumbling, and so he goes back in time in order to save humanity, save the world. Well, through the process of beaming back to time, he is transformed into this Iron Man. And so when he arrives, he's this freakish thing that everyone just stares and gawks at and doesn't know, what it's here for, and no one pays him any attention. When his whole mission to go is for people to listen to him, to say, the end is near, doom is coming, listen to me, I'm here to save you. And no one pays him any attention, which then drives him insane and angry to where he then, when he is able to get the ability to move his limbs, just starts destroying all the people who've like the world that has laughed at him, becoming the destruction of the world that he was trying to save the world from. Which is an incredible sci-fi concept, is when you go back in time to prevent something, but you doing so is the cause of the thing.
The old grandfather paradox.
Right. And through the process of not being listened to, he's changed physically, but then his state, his mind, and his mission changes as well, to where he then is the attacker and destroyer of the world. I love that idea. 9, Highwaymen.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride.
I think the sci-fi concept goes further than just the final man in the lineup being a star captain.
I fly a starship across the universe divide.
I think the story presented in this song is that it is the same man being reincarnated.
So this is Cloud Atlas?
Over time. Yeah,
Oh.
It's Cloud Atlas, that I was a highwayman, and then he dies. He becomes a sailor on the sea. He dies. Maybe it's Quantum Leap style. Like the spirit of that guy then jumps into the Boulder, Colorado guy working on the Hoover Dam, and then finally into this star captain. And then the idea is presented of, what will I be? Johnny Cash says, what will I be next? Yeah. Will I be just a grain of sand, or maybe a highwayman again?
Yeah.
Perhaps I may become a highwayman again.
And so I think the sci-fi concept is actually throughout that this is a person who is jumping into different bodies over time.
I'll be back again and again and again and again and again.
8, Ticket to the Moon.
Have you ever been in a long-distance relationship? To me, it's this great kind of lilting ballad about the sadness of finding love and then getting shipped away. You get sent to the farthest part of the world possible. And honestly, our world has gotten so small. Sci-fi is the only place where you can actually have that anymore. So somebody literally gets sent to the moon on a one-way ticket. You're there, you're stuck, that relationship's over. And so, I can identify with that, being carted away and being shipped off to some place that you're no longer connected. And you don't even really have a means of getting to the person that you most love.
I've got a ticket to the moon, but I'd rather see the sunrise in your eyes.
Seeing the Earth rise but preferring to see the sunrise in her eyes. Like, I love that turn of phrase, because that perfectly communicates, like, yeah, I'm in space and it's majestic and I'm going off to the moon and how exciting. Oh, but actually it's not that exciting because my heart is back on Earth. The way that song uses its sci-fi setting to convey something about, like, the human condition, and that is science fiction.
7-25-25. Dang, is that catchy?
It is picture slices of 10,000 years of time and how man making the same mistakes.
It reminded me of, like, the Time Machine, like when the time traveler, like, hits these key points in time and what is happening to man in that, finally ending in the complete destruction of everything.
Now it's been 10,000 years, man has cried a billion tears for what he never knew. Now man's reign is through. But
like, another reason why I liked it, I could tell by the track itself that it was before, like, the 70s, 80s big rise of sci-fi. I didn't know 25-25 before you sent it to me, and I played that song several times. I'm like, I really like this. It's good sci-fi and it's catchy, and I could totally throw that on and listen to it. Six, 21-12. All right, everybody sit down and let me tell you about 2112. It is a fictional universe or fictional solar system that is controlled by this group called the Federation. Federation are these this evil group that is in control of all of these planets. So there's this guy who lives on one of these planets of the Federation. He accidentally stumbles upon a cave, this water cave, that he goes in and finds an old, beaten up guitar that has been hidden away. And he doesn't even know what it is, because all music that isn't in line with what the priests say has been banned, outlawed, and so, like, rock and all that stuff doesn't exist. And so he finds this guitar, lays his fingers on it, and then starts plucking it and realizes that it makes music, and then starts playing it. And he is so overcome with emotion and joy that he runs and brings it to the priest to say, "Look what I have found." To which the priests say, "We know about, what that is," and they throw it down and trample it and just shatter the instrument underfoot. To which he then goes away distraught and he falls into a dream and has this vision of a society that left the Federation and now live in this basically utopia to him, that there's this enjoyment of the arts. And he realizing that he'll never have that, succumbs to the despair. I think it takes its time. It sets up this story and lets you sit with it and really intake the words of what's happening in the scene. And I love it. 2112, if you haven't listened to it, find the notes, the liner notes with it, and listen to it, and look at the movements of it, and read those. It's a great experience.
It really is. And I mean, it's kind of amazing that it's a thing that unto itself. Like, it's a thing to behold. In at number 5 is 39 by Queen. Earth has basically exhausted its resources. Overpopulation is a problem. And so astrophysicist Brian May says, oh, wait a second, there's an answer for this out in space. We need to go find a colony planet. A score of brave souls are going to be gone for basically forever. And it kind of leaves you with that, like, oh, down on Earth, we've launched man's last hope. Einstein's theory of relativity says that if you're traveling near the speed of light, time will be compressed. Like you will.
It distorts.
Yeah. The second verse, you sort of shift perspectives, and you're now part of that crew. Mm-hmm. You know, it's been a year for us. It's been a century or more for the people who are on Earth. So this person has compressed their life to save the human race. They've come back. They've done it. They've successfully found a virgin planet that they can go to. And he comes back and he lost the love of his life, and now he's interacting with children who he doesn't know. So for me, again, like, it's a song that deals with relativity. I mean, you don't get that in songs very often, and that it deals with it it takes that concept seriously, and again, relates it to the human. It does what sci-fi, in my opinion, does best. For me, Brian May is the perfect guitarist because he doesn't need like lavish solos. He'll have like a guitar phrase that is the best thing, perfectly complements the song, and then ducks back out. It's like, I do my job and it's gone. Where it gets human to me, the end of the second verse, the narrator, if you will, says that your mother's eyes, from your eyes, cry to me.
I like that line. Like, that line is my favorite line of the song when listening to it.
To me, it has the poetry that, like, there's the famous 6-word poem, baby shoes for sale, never used. Like, that condenses a huge, heavy idea into something really small and simple. And again, it's a fun, folksy, kind of upbeat song.
Like Brian May with his guitar riffs. He only puts what's needed.
Oh my gosh. This is exactly what Brian May does. I mean, basically, this does in 3 minutes a better job of what Interstellar tried to do in 2 hours.
4, Space Oddity.
Ground control to Major Tom.
I do love how the music tells the story, which to me makes it harder to be, because that's part of what makes it great, is the way those two things are married to each other. Is that, whenever the ship takes off, musically you're taking off.
I love the build up to the launch, the dun 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 dun, dun, like, and when he's counting down to it.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade.
I would argue too that even though it is very factual of, of course that was happening in the space race. It came at 69. It actually came out before the moon landing.
Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare.
It's timeless. I feel like anyone in many years to come can listen to this song and be like, such a great song. Three, Mr. Roboto.
There is sort of a sci-fi style. I feel like in a lot of ways, Mr. Roboto is that song. Like,
it is the synth.
Yeah.
New
synth,
new wave pop.
Yeah. The sci-fi story that it tells is so great, and I've loved this story for forever. That you have a man who, for sundry reasons, has had to go into hiding, and the only way he can do it is to implant his mind into the body of a robot. Like, that's amazing. That is such a good sci-fi song, or like story. It's one of those things that's almost a guilty pleasure. Like, you kind of are like,
pleasure. 2, Rocket Man. The line in Rocket Man that is the best, in my opinion, is the Rocket Man burning out his fuse up here alone.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is the song that he's burning up everything that is him, and he's doing it alone.
All right.
Like everything that he is going away, but it's not happening with his family. He's completely away from him. So the melancholy is there. And then of course, like, he's on Mars, and you can't raise kids on Mars, and so his family just couldn't be there, and it's menial work too that he's there. It's just, he says, it's just a job. It's science he doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
It's a straightforward idea. Man is sent off into space. He's missing what's behind. He's becoming something, and he's losing. He's losing a little bit of himself out there. He's not exactly sure of who he is anymore.
But like Rocket Man, everybody, that song is a part of our culture. It's who we are. The top sci-fi song of the 20th century is Starman. For me, like, the idea that there is some being in space, there's a Starman,
Yeah.
who is like beckoning you to join him and like
Through the
sending
radio
messages.
waves,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And even that he's a little concerned that once we like interact with him, it's gonna kill us. You know, like that is such a like Lovecraftian. Like for me, that's good sci-fi.
I like the idea that it goes to this one guy, and he hears him on the radio, and then he goes to his friend, and he's like, "You heard him too."
Yeah.
And so there's only like a few people who are getting this message, and then also like, don't tell your father, who he'll think we're crazy and
Yeah.
throw us in a loony bin. It's
Are-
just
you're-
it's wacky, out there, and fun.
You're a big fan of Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
I
aren't
am,
you?
and
'Cause
this reminds me of Close Encounters.
Musically, Close Encounters.
Yeah, it really is. It's like Richard Dreyfuss finding another person like him who's seen the lights and is going to the mountain to meet up with the aliens. And so, yeah, this has a lot of that Close Encounters yummy goodness in it.
Starman's one of the most fun songs ever. This was a lot of fun, and I mean, I stand by our list now. I mean, a lot of these are tight,
Yeah,
but
all lists are subjective, but I feel this is pretty definitive for us. I mean, I think any sci-fi fan of 80s, 70s, 80s rock would be happy with this.
and I
list.
would say the more important thing, hopefully through this list, you've heard of one or two that you had not heard before. Again, I had not heard 2112 before this. I'm glad I have.
I had never heard of 2525, and that I can tap my foot to, and I love it.
Yep.
And it's still really good sci-fi theme and making you think toward the future. I love it.
Well, thank you all so much for listening to us. Remember, you can check us out at Dead Padawans Society on Facebook. You can also email us at deadpadawanssociety@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you thought about our list. Is it perfect, or did we slight the sci-fi song that you think belonged at the top? Let us know.
Yeah, what's your top 5 if you're gonna comment And yeah, tell us where we're wrong, tell us where we're right, and yeah, converse with us, and we'd love to hear from you.
All right, well, live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you.